I went ahead and made a markdown file that kind of walks through the steps that I'm going to send to you guys as a link. And so we're going to use this to follow along. So I'm actually going to follow this as I go so that you can follow the same thing. And this way with a video, you can pause it, rewind, whatever you need to do to go through the steps. And then please just hit up the Slack room if you have questions. And Kendall and the other folks in our class would all be happy to walk you through it. So let's dive in. So first of all, I'm going to be doing this all on my terminal. If you need to use GitHub Desktop, that's fine. If you're on a Windows machine and want to figure out how to use your terminal, you're going to have to do a little bit of Googling just because I've been on a Mac for the past 15 years and I'm not really sure how to use Windows and the command line in that environment. So, but I'm happy to try to Google that with you sometime if you're really stuck. But we're going to go ahead and use the terminal on the Mac, and you can find out other ways to do it on your own if that's what you choose to do. So, all right, right now I'm in my repository for Programming Winter 2018, and I'm on my master branch. And sometime if you want to figure out how to have this kind of information in your terminal, I can walk you through how mine's set up to do that. But remember, our favorite command is git status. That is always going to tell us what branch we're on and if we have anything to commit, what changes are going on. So first thing we want to do, which you guys probably already did last night, but as a quick refresher, to make a new branch, we can see in my little README file here, we can type git checkout -b, and that's going to create a new branch and move me to that branch at the same time, and name your branch. So we're going to say ads Kendall, because that's what we're doing. Alright, and you can see that it switched me to that branch when I did that, and that's what that checkout function actually does. If I needed to switch branches, I could do git checkout master and move back. I can do git branch and see the branches I have available, and I can get checkout ads Kendall to get back into it. Okay, a little more information than you need, but just there's some key things if you already feel like you have a good grasp on that. Alright, so now we've got our new branch. You can do git status to see where you're at. You can see you're on the branch ads Kendall, or hopefully adds your own name, and that we're on a clean tree, so there's no changes to make yet. Now let's go ahead and open Atom. If you don't already have it open, you can do it from the terminal by doing Atom space dot, and that's going to open up Atom inside the directory you're in. Alright, Atom is now open. We can see that I've got an images folder and my index file. And so basically all I want to do is I want to add Kendall in here. Alright, so let's just do everything inside of this div, this column small. And Atom on a Mac, it's Shift Command D, duplicates it. You can type your name. Okay, we would need an image, so let's actually go to my desktop. I actually grabbed an image of Kendall off of GitHub. I know it's creepy, but there you go. And I want to open up Finder so I can drop it in here. And I'm going to just drop Kendall right in. Alright, and my file name is kendall.png. And in Atom I can actually see that too. And Atom is real nice. It gives a syntax of showing you what has been added or changed. So it says, it makes images green because it says, hey, you've made some changes. So, and there it is. That's the new file. So we'll see that in our diff in a couple minutes here. So kendall.png. There's something about Kendall. I'm going to actually ping him on this in a bit so that he can update it to add more info about himself rather than me just taking a guess at some stuff about him. But there's some quick changes. That's really all it takes. So I'm going to hit save, You can see in Atom, there's this little blue dot. That means that there are unsaved changes. I'm going to use Command S to save. And now you see that blue dot went away, and I've made changes. And you can also see that my file changed yellow. And what that means is the file already existed, so it's something that's already in the Git log. It's tracking it, but it knows that there's a difference in there now. And that's one of the fun things about Atom, is it really ties into Git very well and gives you a lot of colored syntax to help you see what's going on with your differences. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back to our instructions here. So we've opened Atom, we added a picture of Kendall, his name, and something about him. Doesn't have to be complicated. If you want to get more creative than that, you are welcome to. Go ahead and do more than one commit. Okay, but now that we've made some simple changes, that's my dog Bree. She wants to go out, but we'll ignore her for the moment. Anyways, now that you've made your changes, let's go ahead and do git status again. And we can see that we've made changes to index.html and that there's a new file that has not been tracked at all yet. So you can add these files individually, or you can add them by doing git add dot. Before I do that, I actually want to show you, and I think I mentioned it in here, this command git diff. If you're using GitHub Desktop, it shows it to you visually. Git diff is the way to do this in the terminal. You type git diff, and you can see, this is where I typed it right up here, and it shows me it's doing a diff, which is the differences between the original index.html file and the changes I've made. Okay, so and the minuses are going to mean that things are removed, the pluses are things that are added. It's pretty straightforward. In this case, we've only added lines of code, so it's all just green. If I had also deleted some lines of code, you'd see a minus and some red. But the diff shows you exactly what changes are being made. So if you've been making some changes but you're not really exactly sure what you're about to commit, you can do git diff and see those changes. Alright, so now that we've seen that, we're going to do git add period, and that adds all of our files. So if we do git status again, we can see now that I've got everything staged to be committed. I can always reset it to unstage it, but these are ready to be committed, so it's kind of like it's almost saved to version control, but not yet. Alright, so now that we've added it, this is how we do that git commit message without having to get into Vim. Alright, so git commit -m add Kendall to the page. Alright, and you can do more lines than that, you can add more description if you need to. This was a very simple change, so that's all that really happened. Okay, and it tells me exactly what is being committed. There was 2 files, there were 5 insertions, that means 5 lines of code, and we added this file here. Okay, so now that we've done that, we can do git status again, and we can see that we're on this branch still, and there's nothing to commit. We're working a clean tree. Now, it doesn't actually say anything about the origin and the origin being behind. And the reason for this is because the origin is what's on GitHub. So if we were to go to, that's the file, github.com, happy coLearning. If we go to this actual repository and click on branches, it doesn't actually know anything about this branch that I just made locally. It doesn't know anything about adds Kendall. So when I do git push, it's going to give me a message. Alright, and it says there's no upstream branch, and what that means is that the origin, GitHub, doesn't know anything about this branch that I just made because I only made this on my machine. So what I need to do is I need to let GitHub know about it. And the way to do that is it tells me exactly what code I need, and all I have to do is copy and paste this. And what it's doing is it's setting an upstream for origin, and origin is just the keyword that links it to GitHub. So if you were to dig in the files in that .git directory, you would probably see origin and it's somehow pointing to this repository on GitHub. It would have the URL in there somewhere. So I'm just literally copy and pasting the code that it tells me to do. These messages are super helpful. Always read them. Hit enter. Okay, and now if you read here, branch adds Kendall set up to track remote branch. So it's all set up, and it also pushed it up to my GitHub repository. So if I were to refresh this page, I now see my branch here. Now let's go back to the main page of this repository, because now we're ready to add a pull request. And the nice thing about GitHub is that it makes it very easy to do that. And it notices that I added this branch really recently, and it gives me a button right here to compare and make a pull request. Okay? If you don't have this button because you've been doing other stuff, you can just click on branches, and then right here is the same button to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and click it from here, but it's the same either way. And that opens up this new page to open a pull request. And here you can see that I have a title for my pull request. This is kind of like your short description. In this area, you would do a longer description. And then if you scroll down, you'll see the files that changed. So here's a list of commits. I only had one commit in this branch. I added an image, and I added this bit of code. That's all that I did. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a quick description. This adds Kendall to our class page. And I'm actually going to add a screenshot too, because I find that to be really helpful to have screenshots. Because it helps your reviewers to know exactly what they're looking for, what they should expect in the changes, saves them some time from digging. Alright, and you can preview what this looks like, and all of the content and everything on GitHub is Markdown ready. So if you don't know what Markdown is, you can Google it. They've actually got some tools in here to help you. This basically is going to insert Markdown for you, and so that's really helpful. But you can just hit preview here and see that there's the image that I added. There's not really any formatting going on here. Now we need to make sure that we assign ourselves to it. So I made this branch. I'm going to assign me. And I also want to request reviewers. So this page is about Kendall, so I definitely want him to review it. But we also have this team that I created, and that's our whole class. So you can even tag the whole team by doing that. Or you can tag each individual too, however you want to do that. But now I've requested review as soon as I create this pull request. And I'm also going to specifically call out Kendall and say, alright, so I'm specifically asking Kendall to specifically look at this. Once I feel satisfied with what I've done, you can add labels if you want. This is an enhancement, I guess. We can talk more about that later if you guys are interested. All I have to do is hit create pull request. Okay, and now you can see that it's posted this pull request. If I go to the pull request page here, you'll see them all listed here. And what it's going to look like for you guys, so here now it says that there's a review required. So everybody except for me, because this is my branch, my pull request, since I'm an admin, it will let me override it. But right now it's saying that I should not be merging this in without review. Okay, and that's something that I set up in the settings so that all code gets reviewed by at least one person. So you guys will probably have a green button, I think it's right up around here, that says review this pull request, and it will give you the option to add comments and approve or request changes, things like that. Or you could, the nice thing about pull requests, you can ask questions in it, make suggestions. We'll dig into that more later, but that's basically what you do.